I rate Iron Man 206. Do not like the cover here. I like the art and I like the idea, but something about it just doesn't land with me. Were I to try and guess what I don't like about it, I am guessing, and this is a guess, I would guess it is the copious amount of empty backgroundage. This issue is Iron Man and two of his Avengers brethren fighting Atlas Man from the Thunderbells. Or Atlas Man eventually from the Thunderbells. We have Mark Brigite art, and that is all great. It is the best thing about the issue. This opening scene is also fun, with Atlas Man trolling Hawkeye by making Hawkeye and Mockingbird bring him hundreds and hundreds of cheeseburgers because he is at giant size and so he needs more food to sustain himself. It is great because as Atlas Man thinks to himself, he could just shrink down to normal size. And heck, he doesn't even have to eat in the first place. He is just trying his darndest to inconvenience his jailers. This issue is a soft sequel to Iron Man Annual 7. And Iron Man Annual 7 was one of the very, very first back issues I got. I got it for its appearance of Atlas Man. It was the issue where Atlas Man got his size growing powers. And I love that annual a lot. And not just because it was an important issue for me, but it is an honestly quality offering. This one, I never knew about this. Had I known, I would have probably tried to get this along with Iron Man Annual 7. I didn't learn that there was an Iron Man issue that loosely followed up on the annual until years later, and by the time I read it, I enjoyed it a lot because it was like I was getting to revisit and get a tiny sliver of more story from Annual 7. But this time, I didn't enjoy it that much. This one has some bothersome things about it. And well, let's just get to it. What really made me not enjoy this issue this time around was the ardent stance when it comes to who is Iron Man. The answer is Robert Downton Abbey Jr. And Rhodes is done with. He's not even going to put on the armour ever again, supposedly. I understand there is a tremendous amount of personal preference at play here, but the way they dismiss and undo Rhodey's stint as Iron Man really fucks my bucket. It's one thing to have Robert Downton Abbey Jr. come back, but to have Rhodey benched this much, and to just toss away his entire time as Iron Man, to have him become the civilian ally again, it's shit. It's absolute shit. That's part of why War Machine works. Because Rhodey is an accomplished armoured hero in his own right. Taking it away just because someone else is meant to be better is bad writing. War Machine is a creative solution because it allows both characters to be accomplished armoured heroes in their own right. I'll explain what happened and what will happen. At this point, Rhodey is getting sent off on a bus. He is leaving on a shuttle to basically not be part of the book's permanent cast anymore. After 30 issues of him as the main Iron Man, it is insulting to see such a prominent character, the guy who was the main star for years, get sent off as a convenience to facilitate the reassertion of Robert Downton Abbey Jr. as Iron Man. Basically what happened is Iron Man 200, so Robert Downton Abbey Jr. returned full-time as Iron Man, with Rhodey stepping down simply because the plot demanded it now that Robert Downton Abbey Jr. Actually, he came back a few issues earlier in a makeshift armour. And let's not really talk about the crap where they were trying to make Rhodey into a bad guy for him. Not good. I've no problem with Iron Man 200. Robert Downton Abbey Jr. returning and defeating the bad guy who handed him the enormous defeat that resulted in his retirement from being Iron Man. That is good. Iron Man 200 is good. It's that after that, we are just done with Rhodey as Iron Man forever, supposedly. There's more ammunition in the clip to say that Robert Downton Abbey Jr. would retire again after conquering the bad guy who brought him so low than there is to say Rhodey would just step down and wander off into the background of Iron Man's title. So we are packing him off, sending him to space, and having him think to himself how great it is that he isn't Iron Man anymore, and how he never needs to be Iron Man again. And it's shitty, and it's shit, and it's insulting, and it's clearly writing with a deliberate goal of undoing any of the growth or evolution that the last few years presented. With legacy characters, this is always a problem even. You will have readers who prefer Rhodey as Iron Man, or you will have readers who came on board when Rhodey was Iron Man. And something like this is unsatisfying. Even to the readers who prefer Robert Downton Abbey Jr. as Iron Man. I can't imagine seeing an important character to the title being sent away on a bus is exciting. And he does stay in space until the next creative team decide to injure him in his armour as an excuse to firmly state as a matter of fact that Rhodey will never ever ever wear the armour ever ever again ever. Yeah, that lasted, didn't it? Anyway, over here we have stuff setting up what will actually be the birth of A.I.M Island. Something that never gets going in Iron Man, and will barely be utilised in the Marvel Universe outside of Marky Mark J's books. So with the Avengers, we have some well-played comedy here with Mark Bright's art. Atlas Man's lawyer is forcing the Avengers to hand custody of Atlas Man over to the police. And the guest appearances of Hawkeye and Mockingbird, they are one of the things I like about this. No, it's not. I remembered what's coming up. It's not one of the things I liked about this issue. So what happens is Atlas Man escapes the minute that he leaves the Avengers' custody. And so it is up to Hawkeye and Mockingbird to try and recapture this rogue. Then Iron Man shows up, and now it is up to Iron Man to try and recapture this rogue. Another thing I don't like as much is how dialed down they have made Atlas Man. In the annual, it took the combined efforts of Iron Man, Wonder Man, and Hawkeye to finally defeat him. Here, Iron Man is able to handle him by himself. Possibly even just a discreet way of shitting on Rhodey again. I don't know. Atlas Man is a great bad guy though. And that is something that this Iron Man run has been hurting for. The writer, Neil O. Dennis, didn't care at all for bad guys or superhero fights. And my god, does it show. He would introduce some of the all-time worst or most pointless villains ever, like the Termite. Yet, the best of his stories were often the ones that used pre-established bad guys. The Serpent League of America, Fire Plan, and so on. Even his new big original bad guy was in many ways a possibly disinterested rehash of Lenny Luthor. It's interesting to see a writer so wrong about things. With quality bad guys like Atlas Man or members of the Urton crew, there was more to engage with than just the character drama. With all that said, this goes to shit fast because Rhodey is in space and the shuttle he is on is going to crash, and so Iron Man has to go and save him. But what about Atlas Man? Well, now Hawkeye and Mockingbird, they are in Atlas Man's cage so that Atlas Man cannot get at them. And this is humiliating. Why would they do this? Hawkeye and Mockingbird could fight Atlas Man. They were fighting Atlas Man before Iron Man showed up. Without Iron Man, they could at least keep him distracted while Iron Man goes away. Well, this is fucking... There is this advert to make you laugh at least. That'll help lower your frustration levels. Well, yeah, fucking asinine plotting. Insulting plotting. Not just this Rhodey stuff. The idea that without Iron Man, two of the Avengers are better off hiding away from the bad guy. It makes me angry. And then Iron Man is able to defeat Atlas Man solo. And I don't want to come down hard on that. It is Iron Man's title. It is to be expected he will beat the bad guy. I have no problem with him defeating the bad guy. It is most of the stuff before that which bothers me. My history with this run, by the way, is that I read it. I read the Bill Bungalow run, enjoyed that. Then I read the David Miscellaneous run, that was alright. Then I read this. So it's not that I came in and enjoyed Rhodey as Iron Man. No, I read plenty of Robert Downton Abbey Jr. ones before that. So I read it all. I read all the Rhodey stuff. I got to issue 200. That was good. I read 201 and then 202. And then I think 203, it was either Fister and Quasar, King of the Jungle, or it was Madam Masks. I'm getting 202 and 203 confused, I think. Those are those two issues. And I realised when I got that far, I realised I didn't like it anymore. So I stopped reading there, but I did skip ahead to this one because I saw Atlas Man was in it. But yeah, to this day, I've still not read the tail end of this run, with Robert Downton Abbey Jr. back as Iron Man. Even if I wanted to, I probably couldn't because Marvel still haven't released the Epic Collection of it, despite the very first Epic Collection ever released being the first part of this run, and then the second part being released not long after that. So Atlas Man is defeated, and Hawkeye and Mockingbird are safe to come out of the cage now. Ugh. I think over the course of the review, I started to like it less and less. I don't want it to come across like I don't like it because it is not Rhodey, or because Atlas Man's level of power wasn't the same as it was in the annual. The last third of this, with Iron Man leaving and the cage, I despise that. I think that is one of the worst bits of plotting ever put to paper. I feel I need to do something extreme to get across how abysmal I think that part is, so I give this a rating of 7 thumbs up.